What's happening, guys? Just messing around with my GoPro and my phone here. Neat little deal. I don't know if you guys are aware of all this for video making. I can see everything that's on the camera within probably like 50 feet. I was out walking around. This one's a little bit funny signal-wise, so we're just trying to get it synced in and figured out. Wide field of view. I mean, that little camera is just sitting back in the corner. Those things have such a wide field of view. It's really cool. I want to get into something a little bit different. We're going to try to take a very bone stock. When I say bone stock, I mean, you know, everything about this saw is just like you would buy it in the store, pick it out of the box, and use it. We can change the bar and chain to a shorter length, which is probably what I'm going to do here. I want to show some things that you can do with just a very basic. I mean, this is the cheapest of the cheap. They're great saws. These pull-in electrics back in the day, they're great for ice carving. Why? Because they have this stupid manual oil switch, which makes anything that you do with this saw really difficult, because you're gonna pump, carve, pump, carve. And they have the safety switch, which is a real pain in the butt to wrap the thumb around and operate. So I'm ratcheting it back a bit, back to my beginning days when I got into really getting serious about carving. What was the first thing that I did? I wanted an electric saw for indoor use. Because I was carving so much. I was carving day and night at the time. And it just became cost effective to get into electric saws. And this is much like the ones that I very first had. I had some Bumblebee saws. I had Remington lemon trim saws that you would buy at Home Depot or Lowe's for like $50, or anything under $100 was a great saw to use. And then throughout time, I started retrofitting carving bars. I would find things. I don't have one here specifically, but like the McCulloch Max 6 bars were the first bars that I retrofitted. That Bumblebee saw was actually a quarter pitch saw, which was great, because right there I could throw a carving kit on it, or I could throw like from a Max 6, because that was a quarter pitch as well. And it was a smaller, shorter bar with a little smaller tip on it. It's a little tree trimming saw from like the 1970s. They're really cool saws. A lot of people collect them. So the first thing that we're going to start with is to look at is the chain. And if you see here, you see all these safety kicks on this. I'm going to try to find other safety chains. Let me turn this off. Okay, so I had to turn the phone off because the Wi-Fi on the camera does sap an awful lot of power from the camera while it's running. Sorry as I mess with my phone. What I was saying though is this is a very standard chain. You would buy it in the store like this. You've seen my other videos where I modify a chain a little bit. Take all those safety kicks down so that the saw gets a little bit better bite, gets seated in the groove a little bit better, does a little bit more action. Basically what what these do is limit the the tooth itself from going too deep in the wood. The raker actually, what its job is all the sawdust that comes off of this tooth. This raker sweeps that out of the kerf as the saw cuts. That's why they call it a raker. A lot of people call them depth gauge. Yes, it can be a depth gauge. It does work as a depth gauge. As you lower that, it allows more clearance, so it allows the tooth to go in quicker. But they also work as a cleaner. Now, these safety, I call them safety rakers, these annoying things right here, which everybody hates on these chains, those only work to keep the tooth from biting into the wood too quickly. So first thing I would do is get rid of these if I were modifying my saw. But as beginner, we're not going to do that. Okay, so I found a shorter bar. Looks like it's all going to fit up. Now, this bar does not have any of those on it. This bar has actually the teeth on this. The backs of them, I've cut them forward, trimmed them, and has none of the crap in the middle. But as a beginner, you're not going to be getting into all that. You just want to carve. So I'm gonna put myself in your guys' shoes. What if, what if I didn't know a thing about saws, and I wanted to carve, and I wanted to learn, and I wanted to just have fun with it. So we're gonna work on some projects here. The important thing to get is one of these. It's called a scrunch or a T-wrench. The important thing to know is how to tension your chain. Watching videos on that or listening to what I say here. Generally for carving, because you're going to have a lot of friction in the bar. And this bar is actually horrible for this because there's not even a roller here. There's no bearings here. This is what they call a solid tip, which has no sprocket inside of it. A quality roller bar, you can tell by these little rivets here, a quality roller bar will have a sprocket in it. Now this right here, that's actually going to make all the difference in the world when you're trying to learn to carve. So I would say go and grab yourself a shorter bar, roller tip bar, quality. The thing you want to make sure there is most of these electric saws are what is called 3/8 pitch. You can go to Lowe's or Home Depot and hopefully the guy will know what he's talking about. And you can say, I have a this and that, I have a Ryobi electric that I bought here. I want the shortest bar possible. So he might know how to give you the shortest bar and chain in a package possible for that will fit that saw and work with it. If not, there's a bunch of codes and specs and charts on them. Technically what you're looking for is it'll say 3/8, like 3/8. And there's two types of 3/8 that we go over in my other videos. There's this, which is 3/8 LP. It's a smaller chain, and then you have your larger 3/8 chain, which if you look at them in the packages even, there's an obvious difference. It's what it is 3/8 is the pitch of your drive links down here, the things that go in the sprocket on your saw that actually moves it. The pitch of these is the same as the pitch on this one. Now, you want to make sure LP versus VGA or large size. 72 would be the other number for the bigger one. You don't want that. So if you're brave enough, if you're willing enough to go to Lowe's or Home Depot and try getting a smaller bar, I would highly suggest it. Get one with a sprocket tip. So this is making this even harder on me because now I have no sprocket tip. I have these annoying things in my way. So now I have to carve really conservatively. So we did the little bit of adjustment, and generally my amount of adjustment, this is a little bit loose for most tastes and for what I would recommend for you guys. You can go a little tighter. If you can fit a dime in between, when the chain sags, if you can fit a dime in between the bottom of the chain and the bar, you're good to go. I right now is oil up. I use canola oil in the shop on the electric saws because it doesn't smoke, it doesn't stink, it doesn't cover my clothes with black oil. Chainsaw bar and chain oil, the stuff that comes in the bottles made for chainsaws, will tend to burn a little bit when you're carving. The stresses of carving off the tip of the saw a lot will cause some burning. So we want to think about minimizing as much as possible. Canola is great because you can go to the grocery store and buy it. You can get it all over you. You can get it on your clothes. You're not bringing stuff in. If the animals lick it off your pants, they won't get sick. A lot of reasons that I like canola oil. I would say if you guys really want to get into carving as a beginner, first time learner, get yourself a saw and get yourself a set of these. These you can make your own mallets for them out of an old, I used an old piano leg. You just need a heavy piece of wood on the end to hit it. You don't want metal because it's going to split the top of the chisel all apart and it'll be useless. We're going to go over in either this video or another one, probably in another one because I like doing these kind of videos. So we're going on minimal resources. Air compressor is very important. Of anything that you invest in, I would say get a good air compressor. I go over that in another video and explain how important and why. You have to stay clean. You want to clean yourself off, even though this is my dirty shirt. Good sharp chisel. I only have a few of these, and I keep them sharp and I love them. And we'll go over all that stuff. But for now, we're just going to focus on the saw, and we're just going to focus on projects that you can use just the saw for, which hopefully may help you guys. Put stuff away here. So we're just going to focus on projects that you would only use the saw for. And hopefully that will help you guys. Hopefully it'll help you understand things a little bit better. So we just have a basic piece of wood. First thing I want to do is figure out how I'm going to keep this piece of wood from moving around a lot as I work with it. If I lay it down, I could lay it down and still be able to cut it. I could take one of these. Mine look fancier, but it's basically just a piece of plywood or a couple pieces of corrugated or whatever, what do they call it, OSB, glued together, screws in the bottom, attaches right there. So now you're going to want a cordless drill or a power drill. some sort of power drill. It doesn't have to be cordless. It can be one of these guys, one of these big guys with the big cord on it and a lot of power. I prefer the cordless for this because it works the easiest. So we have a chainsaw, and there we're out of battery, so now we have to use our other. I do that all the time. I let my batteries die. And the mice seem to be filling everything with stuff. I do that all the time with these. I always let the batteries die. So I have to switch to the corded drill. That's why it's good to have a corded drill. You can find corded drills at a yard sale for 10 or 20 bucks. You can get cordless stuff. It doesn't have to be an expensive endeavor at first. That's why I like making this video for you guys, because I'm showing you the cheap of the cheap. I think I paid 40 bucks for this drill at a yard sale years ago when I saw it, because it's a pretty good quality Bosch corded drill, and I knew it would last me a long time. As soon as I test ran it, and I said, yeah, it's good and powerful. So we're just gonna screw this in. You don't have to go real hardcore at it. You just want something that's gonna hold your carving, your piece of wood still for you. Even with this on here now, if I lay this like that, it's a lot more stable. I can put it like this, and I can work on this way. Stand it up. Now, as far as clamps go, I'll be right back. Now, as far as clamps go, and even like a special stand. Oh, and here I noticed that I have a screw poking out, so I'm going to move that while I see it. That's what you want to make sure when you do this. If you get the screws in the center, you'll be good. Now we're good there. Don't mind all the fancy tools. We're not even going to address those today. There's tons of other tools that I use and that I have. And I've actually been whittling down my tool collection. The big Makita D800, I found that I didn't need it anymore because I needed it for a certain thing, and I'm not doing that certain thing anymore. And that was all that I ever really used it for. You know, that was like $400 or $500 tool just laying around not getting used. So I gave somebody a good deal on it, and they love it. You can get these at Lowe's or Home Depot. You can get these at Lowe's or Home Depot. You can use a C-clamp. You don't need anything fancy. I like the wood clamp ones, because of the way this table is set up. They go on and they clamp real easy. Now you can do the same with this, but then you have this here, so you just want to be sure you don't hit that with the saw. That's the danger of it. You can flip it, but then if it's a hydraulic cart like this one, see, this cart goes up and down. You don't need all this stuff though. You can actually take this piece of plywood, you can get a stump, bring it in, and put screws through, and here and here, just to hold this all down. it'll give you the same stability. The only thing is you're not going to be you're going to be bending over to carve a lot, so you will be straining yourself a little bit there. So our saw is ready to go, and yes, I will put on the safety glasses. No, I don't have chaps on. You should, as a beginner, you should always have chaps. You should wear them. I don't care if you're just doing a little thing like this with a little tiny baby saw. All it takes is one time when you're going to set that saw down. If the chain is still spinning and it hits your leg, it could hurt. And that's the least case scenario. If you actually slip and went across with that chain spinning full bore, yeah, you want something there to stop it. Now, personally, I'm not worried about that. That's why I don't have the saw pants on, because they're a pain to put on. And it's cold out, and I'm trying to stay inside. As soon as I put those pants on, I end up going outside. So what we're going to work on, got some interesting build up there. I was just hoping it wasn't a nest of some sort. We don't like moths and stuff like that. So what we're going to work on is we're just going to make a shape. And we're going to do it all with the big saw. And then we're going to do some detail into it. And then we're going to play around with some other things. So I kind of look at this piece. I don't know if I can get a better view of it. I'm trying to learn all this GoPro and stuff right now. The GoPros have a different view to them. I like them when they're on my head, because then I know exactly what's going on. So we have this basic piece, and we have this here. So I'm just going to make like a horn shape, and I got to pump my saw. So I'm just going to start cutting real slow. First up, you may actually want to have this a little bit lower. I like stuff up high. You want to stay out of the way of this. If it kicks back, you want it to kick back here. You don't want it to kick back here. This has no safety brake on it. This is why ultimately I say get a shorter bar on it, because you're going to have a lot more control and stability. Notice where I'm standing. I'm standing out of the way, so if this kicked, it wouldn't hit me. Okay, so, and you notice that I'm right up against the saw. I'm right up in here, because I don't want to hit here. It'll kick right now, especially with that supposed safety chain. It will kick if you get in. If you get in here, it will tend to roll up if you slow that chain down enough. You saw how that safety chain wasn't kicking while I was doing that. That's what those things are good for, to a point, because they keep the chain from biting in too quick. But if you press and heat it up, it's going to kick. So I'm just going to go real slow and just keep working this into a shape that I feel good about. There's no real rhyme or reason to this. We're just making a horn shape. If you need to draw it out, draw it out. But I'm kind of seeing it. Now, if you notice, I did a top cut. I did reverse and I just held it there. I just held it there and I let the saw do its work. Okay, and there's two different kinds of cuts now that I just showed you. There's your basic slice, and then there's your top cut, which is cutting off of the top of the chain. As we get into top cutting, we want to make sure that we're in the wood as we go. Try to move this around with the microphone on here too. This is definitely a learning. This is a learning experience for me too, guys. All right, so that this little GoPro stand. Okay, so the whole top cut thing, what I was saying there, you want to make sure that you're in the wood as you top cut. You want to be comfortable and you want to let that saw do its work. So if I top cut here, now notice my tip is past the wood. I don't want to get my tip in there because it could jump, it could do all kinds of things. This is for you beginners. If you've never run a saw before, turn this video off. Go get some personal instruction on how to use a saw. Take some lessons first with somebody who knows. Pay your neighbor who has a saw. Ask your doctor. I don't care who. But you need to know basically how to take a saw, turn it on, make a straight cut safely. You know, keep yourself out of harm's way. Keep this off to the side. If it jumps, you want it here. You don't want it coming back here, right? We got to practice that before we're doing this kind of stuff. So this is all this. I'm not teaching you guys how to run a chainsaw. I'm teaching you guys how to go from the person who knows how to use a chainsaw and is comfortable with it, doing the very basic things. I mean, say you learned how to use a chainsaw a week ago or a month ago and you've been practicing a lot at home, making straight cuts, trimming things, even trying to carve with it. This is taking you to the next level from that. If you've picked up a chainsaw and run it and you're comfortable and happy using it and now you want to carve with one, that's what this is for. This isn't the never ever who's never used a saw. There is no video for that. I don't care what anybody says. You need someone to teach you in person. Strong disclaimer. I'm a big proponent of that. So, moving on, you saw I did my top cut and I let it go real smooth. So now we're going to speed it up a little bit. I'm going to work on my shape. I'm keeping out of harm's way of the saw. Now, if it's a horn, I already know that I want this kind of pyramid shape to it. Right now, it doesn't have that shape. It's a little bit wide, so we're going to narrow it down. Now you hear the saw bogging down, and you see me doing this sort of thing. What I'm doing, I'm not sawing with it. I'm actually rocking it in the kerf under the chain. The chain is pushing stuff out. So what I'm doing as I rock it is I'm picking stuff up and then I'm spitting it out. So that helps it cut a little bit better, helps it stay cooler and smoother. Now the thing is, as I'm doing this, I am applying more pressure. You want to keep more pressure to keep the saw in the wood and keep it cutting smooth. Now, you want to be very careful when pieces fall off like that. I'd advise you to stop and break it off, or stop and kind of, you can cut in and just have a little piece down here left and then continue, so that piece, that whole big piece doesn't fly and hit you, because with the chain moving, it could throw it back at you. Now I'm not rocking it a whole lot here, because the angle, see here, I was on the outside of the chain, so to keep it held in the wood straighter, I did want to keep moving it. Here, I can just hold it straight. You can hear it when I'm pushing down. It goes rah 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 rah. Makes a growly noise, and you will get the feel for that too yourself. This is very dry wood. That's why I'm giving it a little bit more pressure. If you carve with a greener, softer wood, you're not going to need to have that much pressure on it. Now this is where I would say the shorter bar is probably something that you guys really want to think about. We're going to use only this part. We're only going to use from here to here for a lot of this. So now we're working off the tip, but we're not coming up here because that's the danger zone. You want to stay from here to about here. If you divide, if you draw a line through the bar, this, like where these circles are, if you stay below that, you're safe from kickback. If you go above that, now you're risking kickback, and this is where it can get pretty dicey. So you see how that jumps around on that tip? That's why I say shorter bars. This is what, with it jumping around on the tip, yeah, a little bit of pressure down this way. Just hold it in there. It's still where it cut. Don't push down real hard. Don't get behind it and dangerous. You see I'm away from it. You see it's going to jump at first, especially on the end of a knot. This is a knot, piece of knot. But you saw once I was pulling it down, it started cutting a lot smoother. Now, I'm in the wood here. It looks like I'm on the tip, but I'm still from here down to here. Okay, so now we have our basic inside shape. We're going to deal with this later. Don't get ahead of me there. I know you guys are saying, but it doesn't look great. All right, so now we have our basic. It's starting to look like a raven's head. So would you want to stop here and just go boink, you know, do your beak, boink. There's a raven's head. But first we have to get the gullet out. So we're going to upcut. Alright, now we're getting into the danger zone. If I were to hit that tip here, I could bite it. That's why you see me doing this. Because what this is doing is it's actually allowing me, every time I pull it back, it opens up and lets me kick it in a little bit. And I'm looking at my curve here, and I'm looking at this in relation to all that. And I'm saying, okay, I'm almost to the bottom here, so now I can get rid of that. Okay, so we're getting there, right? We're learning to carve. Now we're learning to carve. This is a fun beginner project. What do you see? What do you see happen? If I brought it in here more, rounded it off there, and then put a little hook on it, then it's an eagle's head, right? All these things, you're going to start seeing that in general as you work. Here, I'm just doing light cuts. I'm getting this piece to break away, right? I'm just slowly shaping. I'm only using the one side of the chain as I shape. You guys see me do that a lot faster. You say, oh, you make it look so easy. Well, this is how I do it, guys. I'm explaining to you the first step to get to that point. Now, to get us out of the danger zone, we want to get rid of this piece here. And we have a chisel. That's what chisels are good for. All right? You can just break that up. And then you can clean that. It's little of this, little of that, little of this, little of that. Take your time. Okay, so we're doing everything in very small stages, taking our time with it, not getting in a hurry. We have our shape. We could do a raven's head. Pretty much, you would just say, where about do I want the brow line, the top of the head? Now look at that. You see already what's going on here. There's where your eye would be. Basically, it's a bird head, and it's that easy to see stuff. And you saw I was using this to draw it in, and this sucker's jumping all around, so it's making it hard for me. That's where I say let's get a shorter bar on there and make it a lot easier on itself. But I'm not going to do this bird head. I'm going to still stay on the path that I was on. Now, because we have our main shape, we're just going to round that. We're going to make it a round piece, because right now it's really just a few cuts. We want to get rid of these hard edges. Because we said we were going to make a horn shape, let's stay focused. Let's get away from the bird head and let's make a horn shape. I might be moving quickly right now, but I'm doing the same thing the whole time. You saw I'm keeping the saw here. I'm not cutting in deep. If I get a corner, yeah, I take that corner and just kind of ease into it, or even, this way. I'm more carved than I am talk, believe it or not. And that's where I think I show better what to do. The less I talk, the more you guys see, right? We're speeding up our movements now. We're getting in the groove of this. You'll get there too. As soon as you get focused on a shape or on a carving and you get whipping around, you'll be amazed at what you naturally, instinctively will do right away. So as things speed up and we start to progress, you see now we're getting the shape of a horn. I just have a little bit left here, a little bit of roughing out, or boosting, sorry, what I call just smoothing down, rounding. So, what you guys may notice, you see here where it's a little rougher. You may notice how clean my cuts are because I'm holding the saw. I'm not rushing my stuff, and I keep my chain sharp. If you need to go buy more chains to do that, just go do that for now. But there again, Lowe's and Home Depot or any hardware store where they sell chainsaw stuff, you can buy extra chain, and at any of those stores too, you can even buy a round file, a sharpening file for that chain. All you have to do is ask the guy who works that section at that store, or you know, ask the guys at the counter at the chainsaw shop. Say, I want to sharpen a saw. I want to learn how. Maybe they'll teach you how right there. A lot of stuff in this art form is ask and learn. The more you ask, the more you're going to learn. Don't ever be afraid. I've actually been explaining to, I'm making this video because there are some people who are like new to the whole thing. They know how to use a chainsaw. They've already tried some carvings and their carvings look great, but they don't have any idea of how to sharpen a chain. Don't even know the first thing that you need to, and that's where I say, watch my other videos explaining sharpening. Go to a place where you get chainsaw stuff. So there my chain's a little tight, but that's okay. We'll deal. You know, go to a place in person. That your best learning opportunity is going to be in person stuff. So now we're going to take this horn shape to the next level. We're going to finish it with a pattern. Basically, I'm just going to give it a diamond pattern. It's very easy. And we'll start out at the tip. And here too, in my other videos, I explain using the very corner. If you look at a chain this way, right? There's a right tooth. There's a left tooth. Well, each of these teeth has a point on it. So I've got right point and left point. So when I say use the side of the chain, use the bite of that chain, what I'm talking about is that right or left side of the chain. Right now we're using the side of the chain to do this little detail. And here's another cut that I go over in other videos, the slough cut or the smoothing out. I want to get rid of my bird eye. that's it. And all it is just letting the saw run here real light, just letting it take off little pieces. So we're going to make a pattern. You can go in straight. You can cut it in straight like that and have it look nice too. You're more than welcome to. It's your art. Do what you feel is best for you. I like to go sideways. A little bit smoother. It's already jumping around. Why? Because I'm end grain. This is where the grain of the wood is like stacks of straws. If you're hammering down here, things are going to bounce more. If you cut this way, it's not going to bounce as much. But since our pattern goes end grain, we're kind of fighting against those forces. Let it ride. If it's gonna bounce there, I just let it bounce around. Keep it straight. The other thing you can do is flip it. So now, oh, sorry. The other thing you can do is lay the carving down, flip it, reposition it. So when you're cutting with the grain. That will ultimately lessen the chances of that kind of jumping. But I'm going with what I have for demonstration purposes. See, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to hold the saw here. I'm minding where it could jump. That takes practice. You're always moving around. You got to move when you carve. Don't just stand there and do this, because bonk, one day you're going to catch it. Don't just stand there and run the saw hard. You got to move around. You got to be nimble on the trigger. That's what we're practicing. That's what we're getting used to, all while we're doing all this other stuff. So it's a matter of just now maneuvering yourself around and outsmarting the situation. And like I say, do what's comfortable for you. I have my way of doing it. Everybody has different ways. There's no set way to cut. It's, I hold the saw a certain way. Might look risky, but it's really not. You don't have to do that. As you're learning, don't put yourself there if you don't feel safe. If you feel fine about it, go ahead. See, I know I can do it because I'm just touching the wood with the saw. I'm letting the chain do the work. I know that I'm not gonna force it into something it doesn't want to do. Low so that you're always here. Always here. Stay below that line. Cut here. Don't come up here. That's why I get the saw down low. Smoother. Right? Now we see it coming from this. Here is where you're really going to be in the danger zone. So trying to keep this strip the same all the way. You just want to maneuver. Take your time. And that's all it takes. It doesn't take a whole, you're not building a building here, you're just making art. So if you can't safely get that saw in there to follow through, then figure something out. Figure out a different way to do it. Okay, so there's all of our stripes going one way. And I have tons of videos on very beginner basic stuff. The hardest thing is for most people, they say, well, I want to carve bears like you do. Well, the only thing I can say is I've been doing those bears for a very long time. And actually, I've been carving for a very long time. And I have videos on how I do my bears. I can't really make it any better than that as far as showing you guys how I make my bears. The other thing is, though, I spent years not making bears. I spent years carving stuff like this. Big, huge pieces of artwork, sculpture stuff, long before I even ever tried a bear. So, by the time I got to bears, I had already had all the shapes, all the moves, and so bears became easy for me to learn quickly because I just looked at a picture and copied it. That's the kind of art that I like to do. I've always liked that, just study work. So, we're going to make these X's go this way. Now here's where we can get more into the groove. It's dangerous, but it's not. It takes practice to do this. You'll get it. Danger zone. I was pushing it. That's where you could go over, hit that, and get kickback. So that's where I say, that's where it looks dangerous, but if you know where to stop, it's not. But I'm just showing you guys my preference on angles for things. here is to try to make it look like a diamond pattern in the end. That's the hardest part of doing this piece. Now when I come off the bottom there, I'm going straight through. I'm not letting the saw hit here on the other side. I'm coming straight off it. Looks like one thing, but it's doing another. Just so you know. None of these is ever going to be perfect. As long as I've been doing this, it's still not exactly what I saw in my head. And that's where it becomes a design thing. Should I have made the lines this way, radially, and actually dissected it more? Yes, in my mind's eye, I should have done that. I could have done that. I would have done that for my own art piece, but I'm showing you guys. You know, say this is a pine tree bending over. It's just a Christmas thing. There it is right there. You kind of have it. It kind of looks like that. Kind of cool. You could do dancing trees. You could actually come in at this point. You could actually get rid of all this. Okay, so now, hold on. Alright, got my oil on my chain for the next step. Because I changed my mind. I saw something cool that I wanted to do. So, we're going to do it. And we're going to do it with this. The crazy stock bar and chain. Right from Lowe's or Home Depot. I'm thinking I want to make a face here, right? I could make a nose. A nose would be pretty easy. But what I'm actually thinking more of, what I'm seeing more of, is like a beak, like a little happy birdie beak. So we're gonna go real light. We're just gonna take our time. Absolute sure that you don't hit the top of that chain and have her, because I'm right near there. If I caught there, it could jump this way. When wood breaks away and splinters, that's when it becomes really dangerous. So we just made our little impression for the tip of our beak. Okay, now we're using the saw in a different way. We're using the shape of the tip of the saw to kind of sweep back the bird's beak. Okay, so we're working on sweeping back the bird's beak. This is a next move. I'd say this is like move number 4 in the series. We're still staying down here below that dot for safety reasons, but we're exposing the beak of the bird now. We're working on a little birdie. Because it is winter and it's cold, our birdie wants a hat. See, it's kind of like a little owly face in there. If you can make them smiling, make them smiling. If you can't, if you're going to have difficulty with that and you want to try not using the chisel on this one, well, then just don't make it a smiley bird. You'll get there. Very small steps, light touches. You see, I'm just barely touching the wood with the saw now. I'm leaving more wood here than I need to be there because I'm working into it. I say that in all my videos, leave more than you need. Right there is what I call the danger zone. When you go in there, be very careful. That's why I have it down here and off, where if it did jump, it wouldn't come near me. It's not keeping it from jumping, it's expecting it to jump. You have to expect that they will jump. You see here I go upside down. touch it. Took off a little bit more than I wanted to there, but it's still going to work. And now here is where height advantage is your best friend, being able to adjust the height of your table or having different height stumps or benches to clamp your work to is pretty important. Was just to get that one. Oh, we're pushing on our owl here. Grumpy old owl sitting in the corner watching me work. Right? And here's where you may want to switch hands. Now the only danger with that is your crossover effect, right? So that's where I say, take your time. Be gentle with it. And don't worry about right away, oh, does it look perfect? Does it look exactly? You see here, I'm way off. I'm way off course. But I can clean that down and see what I want. All that extra wood. I left myself all that extra wood, so now I can do what's called ranging in. I can pull things more into place where I want them to be. I can start shaping. I mean, it's by far from perfect, but then again, look at the tool I'm using. Am I having fun doing this? Yes. I'm having fun doing it. I'm working on my skills, my motor skills. I'm working on my hand control with the saw. That's why we're doing this. That's why I'm showing you this. Working on getting a good feel for that saw. And I'm trying to make a nice piece of artwork, and I'm taking my time with it. And we're just working the beak into shape now, and it's probably not going to look anything like you thought it would look like when it's done. A lot of shaving and picking going. Notice here how I go from I use my thumb. The shape of the beak has just completely changed, right? So there's kind of our shape of our beak. I don't know if you can see it real well on the camera or not. I should actually have you on my head for this one. We're just kind of playing around with this, and I'm sorry if I keep getting in the way while I'm working. We'll work on that one as we make other videos. But essentially, we have a smiling little beak face, right? All done with this one ugly, really bad saw. So now we're just gonna figure out a way real quick to finish it. I was real delicate and real gentle with going in. Yeah, it's far from perfect. You know, it was a fun project. See, that one caught me right in the gut. Now, we're not going 3D because I just saw it's so slow, it's just taking a while. But you see, pretty much, we have kind of a penguin shape here, right? All started with this and just kind of evolved as I looked at it and thought about it and had fun with this. So that's where we're going to kind of leave it and finish it. That would be his wing. That's pretty much it, guys. I mean, you got a good start there, and even coming in here to get this piece out, just take your time. It looks like the saw's not moving, but I'm very little movements to get that. See that one tap on top of that piece and it come flying out. That will come with practice, learning to fling things off. It'll help. Well, that's pretty, I mean, a penguin's foot pretty much does it for me, but a penguin's foot would be pretty thick and bulky, right? Because they're in the Arctic. Trying to be perfect here or exact. I'm just trying to represent. That's the whole point. I know the penguins have a big circle here. is, step by step, the more it's going to look like something. And I'm working what's called 3/4 view or half view, right? You see a lot of this I didn't cut. You give them a little cut there. I mean, that's pretty much it, really. It was just fun to do this exercise with you guys. We're going to cut that back.